Greetings, it is I, Orkar Isber, your guide in the Sanguine Archives, where we explore the lore of World of Darkness by White Wolf from a perspective of and the focus on vampires, mainly Clan Baali. So let me guide you today through the memories of the blood, or better said, a bit more off topic and out of character, into pop culture, gaming and Baali characters in video games. This will be part B for the series not series, but part B of the video A Thousand Faces, which is much longer than I originally intended it to, and give you some introduction into video game characters that I believe would make very good Baali or Baali characters at least. I will start with games that you probably are familiar with and are decades old, so no spoilers there, but I will still give you a spoiler warning. Some of the video games that I'm going into are rather recent, let's say the last 5 years or so, and you may want to turn off after I mentioned the respective game and the character. So spoiler warning done. With that out of the way, welcome to the Sanguine Archives. Let's start with Baldur's Gate 1 and the main villain of it, Sarevok. Or Sarevok, whatever, I'm calling him Sarevok. Sarevok in the first game makes a perfect Baali character. He is presenting himself as an upstanding member of society, a very rich guy who is close to the nobles of the city of Baldur's Gate, who has the town's city guards, basically the police, in his pocket. He wants to appear as the savior of the city, bringing in good high quality iron and sparing no expense to give the suffering people of the city what they need. He's definitely presenting himself as the one brilliant angel-like divine figure that everyone should be thankful for. He presents himself as rather likable and charismatic, and he definitely just is very good at playing with people. Meanwhile, he is actually responsible for the very problem that he's pretending to solve, kinda causing it right away. He is very ruthless, killing his own men and everyone else in his path that he has to. He's very much focused on becoming a god. To be precise, the god of murder, the heir to Baal. He killed a lot of people because there can only be one, and he killed all his brothers and sisters, or at least tries to, in order to achieve that goal of becoming an actual god. That said, he clearly seems to be more of a Nagali type, or better said, he is a celestial who tries to become a divine creature himself. The next character is from Mass Effect, precisely more Mass Effect 2, and it's the Elusive Man. But before I go into the Elusive Man, I wanted to mention that Sarevok in Baldur's Gate 2 is not so good of a Baali character anymore, because you can actually make him question what he did and turn to a good character, which he shouldn't be. I mean, chaotic, okay, fine, but he's definitely evil. Baali is definitely evil, and you will never be able to just talk him out of being evil. He has a higher purpose, and he knows it. So back to the Elusive Man. In Mass Effect, the Elusive Man seems to be your savior, your best friend, your only hope. He spares no cost of recovering your corpse, bringing you back from the dead, giving you a new ship, a new Normandy, and a new crew with Joker and the like. So he absolutely seems to be the good guy. He says he wants to fight the Reapers, which is also of course your enemy, and fight for humanity, which is something that Shepard is actually also in line with. I mean, he is a human. The Elusive Man is super rich, super influential, and trying to do all those things that are necessary to achieve the higher goal of protecting mankind and the galaxy. Now, the Elusive Man does appear as the savior and the good guy. However, you know from the first part of the game that the Elusive Man is actually behind Cerberus, and Cerberus does some very ethically questionable things, experiments on people against their will, tortures people for scientific research, has children imprisoned if they show any promising talents just to turn them into lab rats. So he's definitely not good, and Shepard knows it. But the way the Elusive Man presents himself, there is so much justification for all the evil that he does that Shepard starts aiding him. Meanwhile, the Elusive Man's real goal is to actually aid the Reapers and become a important servant to them, being much more powerful than they ever would be otherwise and actually becoming immortal, surviving as one of the very few people that the Reapers will actually spare. So, perfect, I guess, not much to say. Very good Baali character. The next one is from the Dragon Age series, namely Dragon Age 1, and it's the character Flemeth. Now Flemeth is actually a dragon and kind of an abomination, meaning that she is potentially possessed by a demon, or actually the demon herself, which perfectly fits a Baali, I might add. There are demons who become full-fledged Baali, and Baali who become full-fledged demons, so that's nice. Flemeth also presents herself as a savior, and while she isn't quite good and nice or likable or charismatic, she is definitely pragmatic and doesn't appear to be a problem. She aids the heroes very much, and they are definitely deep in her depth. She saves their lives and appears to be a good ally. Until you speak a bit more with Morrigan and discover that Flemeth actually eats children and kills her own daughters to devour their hearts, and is actually much more evil than you might think, and more importantly, she has a long plan going all the way. When she rescues your life and that of the other Grey Warden, Alistair, her plan is from the start that you have to take Morrigan because you are indebted to her, and make a child with Morrigan, because that way they can actually save one of the old gods of the franchise. So she definitely plays the long game and doesn't let you know anything about it. You will only realize what her actual plans were if you romance Morrigan, or better said, if you play to pretty much the very end of it. The next franchise I want to talk about is Fallout New Vegas and the character Vulpes Inculta. Now Vulpes Inculta is a spy for the Legion of Caesar, and he is a spy inside the NCR. The fantastic thing about Vulpes Inculta is that he has apparently no issues at all inside the NCR. He can pretend to be a normal, just everyday citizen in the NCR, even has some higher ranking people who owe him favors. He has a lot of influence in the NCR, he knows how they think, how they work, he has no troubles infiltrating any area or city in the NCR and appear as the good guy. Meanwhile, he does the crazy things like the lottery, where he basically makes a lottery with one winner who gets away alive and everyone else is killed by him one by one, and then mocks them for not even trying to stand up and fight for themselves, and indulging in the fears of people and saying, you know, we will kill you one by one and only one of you is going to make it out alive, and that's the winner of the lottery. And he kills people in gruesome, cruel ways, crucifying them alive, smashing their heads in whatever is intimidating at the moment. He has no problem torturing people or killing people, even his own men if need be. He's absolutely ruthless and just knows how to play with people's fears. So that's something you can look for in a Baali as well. Next character, Bioshock series, namely Bioshock 1, Andrew Ryan, the guy who actually built the sunken city. And Andrew is highly intelligent, very resourceful, he definitely has a vision, and he has definitely no problem killing people and torturing them to death. He did invent quite a lot of things that are absolutely horrific and brutal. The Little Sisters are also on his account, where he turns basically children into drug induced slaves of his. And all while in Rapture, we actually see the city already having fallen down. He definitely must have been extremely charismatic to gain all the positive press. Very likable, given from the records that we have of him and see of him. And actually, he seems to have been a rather nice guy. At least that's what he presented himself as, giving people the impression that if they come to him as laborats, that he will fulfill their wishes and invite them into an utopia where you can fulfill all your dreams. And he does so very well. Next character, Diablo 3, Belial. Now I'm not really satisfied with Belial as a Baali, because he's a bit too obvious, I think. He is posing as Hakan, the Emperor, and he is portraying himself as a child, which adds a bit to the innocence factor, but he is quite suspicious from start, so he's not very good as a Baali, but at least he tries to. He tries to convince you that he is on your side from the start, meanwhile buying his time and actually aiding you in order to fulfill his own plan. You see, the Black Soul Stone that you are supposed to create to capture Belial is also aiding his plans, because he actually wants you to get the Black Soul Stone so that he can devour and infuse himself with the captured souls in the Black Soul Stone and become the ultimate evil. Which is a very good plan for a Baali, I guess, and he has no problem betraying his brothers and basically all other demons to achieve his goal of becoming the ultimate evil, and he is willing to use you, the chosen one of the franchise, to aid him in this, and he does try hard to make you do it, which you ultimately do, but of course he ends badly, and he doesn't seem to have a backup plan, which is rather stupid, especially given for a Baali character. Next character, Kel'Thuzad, from the franchise of World of Warcraft, or better said, Warcraft in general. Kel'Thuzad is actually a character that is quite interesting Baali-wise. He started out as a mage of the Kirin Tor. He was very powerful and highly respected within the mage order. So he's definitely has the occult knowledge thing going and this magic affinity going. He created a cult, the Cult of the Damned. So sect thing, check. Definitely a good Baali. He convinced a lot of people to join his cause. He had no problems betraying friends and killing his own family to get where he is. He has no problem killing thousands of people and infecting them with a plague. Plague is also a good hint for Baali, by the way. He is absolutely ruthless and power hungry and just driven by immortality and more power, which fits Baali just well. Kel'Thuzad managed to, in secret, study necromancy and demons in Dalaran in the Mage Order without being found out for decades, until it was too late and he already had the cult and officially signed with the Lich King and the Scourge, which is of course having a lot of undead in them, which is also nice for Baali, and yeah, very nice inspiration for portraying a character that is a Baali. Though he is, the flaw that he has, he's not very charismatic and not very likable, and he doesn't even try to be. Just saying that. Next, we have the character Magus from Chrono Trigger. Now, in Chrono Trigger, Magus is a character that is ultimately wanting to do the right thing, so he has a greater plan that is actually good. But while that is not really a plus side for a Baali character, he has no issues siding with demons and all the evil things out there in order to fulfill his dream. He is pretty much a Molochim incarnate. He wants to ultimately stop the world from being destroyed. And in order to do so, he employs slavery and sacrifice of human and killings and torture and siding with demons to stop the destruction of the world. He has super powerful magic. He definitely has the occult lore going. He is a very skilled mage. He's actually, I think, the strongest character in the series. But either way, he is very intimidating. He is feared. He is definitely an evil dude. And he is just fantastic at surprising you because he's ultimately siding with you when he finds out that you are his best shot at actually getting rid of stopping the destruction of the world. That said, his flaw is that he has a sister that he is very fond of, and that is used against him later down the line, but he has also no problem killing his own mother. Just saying that out there. Next, also an old Super Nintendo game, Terranigma, and the end boss, Dark Gaia. Now, Dark Gaia is special in a way that, how should I put it, through 90% of the game you think you are the good guy. You are playing the hero of the game. You are raising the continents from the bottom of the ocean. You bring plant life back to Earth, to a scorched Earth. You make birds and animals reappear on the planet and ultimately resurrect humans. So you basically create the world. You are potentially a god yourself. By the adventures that you take, you help so many people achieve good things and have happy lives. You influence the growth of cities and you just make the world a better place. But ultimately you are actually the bad guy because you do all of that just in order for you to serve a purpose, and that purpose is given to you by Dark Gaia. Dark Gaia wants you to do all of these things and aids you in your quest, sends one of her minions with you, who is, by the way, Fluffy. I think he's called Fluffy. And Fluffy is just the perfect friend to you. He aids you, he gives you the best of advices, he's always there for you, he does all of that with you, just in the end to betray and kill you once you become a problem for the plans of Dark Gaia, of whom Fluffy is a minion. So the very moment you start being an annoyance to the plans of Dark Gaia, you are killed. What they didn't plan on is that you got resurrected and da. But either way, Dark Gaia wants you to recreate creation just so Dark Gaia can take over said creation. So that is a wonderful plot twist and a good character for a Baali. Next we go with the franchise of Lufia, namely said Lufia 2 and the Fortress of Doom. With Ares, no, it's not the Fortress of Doom, it's the other one, Rise of the Sinistrals, the prequel technically. And the character of Ares, the Lord of Death. Now, it's actually a bit the opposite of what Baali should do in the span of the course, because at the end Ares actually saves the hero, betrays her brethren, the other lords of hell, to give mankind another shot. Shows she's ultimately a good person after all. But with that flaw aside, she actually does a pretty decent job at being a Baali, because she appears to you as your biggest aid. She is the one sending you out on your quest, she is the one aiding you in your quest, she is the one saving your marriage, she is the one giving you great tips on how to go further and where to go next. She aids you in your fight against the demons and the minions of hell. She is the one helping you to take out Idura, who kidnapped your son and endangered your wife. She is the one who is ultimately responsible for you even marrying said wife and having the child. And she is rescuing the child for you, basically. So she seems to be definitely on your side, your best ally, your best friend indeed. And ultimately it turns out she did all of that just so that you would walk right into a trap. That's nice. So, next character, Vampire Bloodlines. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with that game, and it's the character of Strauss. Strauss is the head of the chantry in the game, the Tremere chantry in the game, in downtown, and he is very knowledgeable. He definitely is sophisticated and knows how to behave. He also knows how to dress. He is a Tremere, And while he is definitely a great Tremere character, keep in mind that the Tremere are highly infested with Baali, that the Order of the Worm recruits many Tremere into the ranks of the Baali, and that Tremere has no problem betraying the prince and to some part the Camarilla in order to keep destruction of the world, and in that case especially Gehenna, at bay just a little more. He is absolutely fantastic at playing secrets right and dealing his cards well. He has this gargoyle that he wants to dispose of and stuff like that. So I think Strauss would also make a good Baali. Finally, I will end with the Gothic series, the Gothic franchise, and the character of Xardas, who is arguably one of the main heroes and antagonists at the same time of the franchise. Now in the first and second game, Xardas seems to be your best friend. He is the one that greatly aids your quest and helps you stop a demon from awakening, Molochim, wink wink. He is absolutely powerful. He is the most knowledge mage of them all. He is extremely powerful and educated. He is sophisticated. He is ruthless. He has no problem dealing with demons and sacrificing people for his gains. He has no trouble killing people and setting up quite dangerous traps in order to prevent people to just waltz into his home. He is seemingly fighting Beliar, who is the god of evil in the franchise, stopping his minions, fighting demons and undead, and he aids you a lot. Without him you wouldn't progress anywhere really. He is the one giving you the enchanted magical sword that you need. He is giving you the enchanted magical armor that you need. He is giving you all the hints on where to go and what to do. He is aiding you with spells and tips, and if you are a mage yourself, if you're playing as a mage, he is your teacher. So he's definitely a good friend of yours. After the events of Gothic 1, he's the one that brings you back from the dead and resurrects you in Gothic 2. He helps you get on your feet again. He sends you out to stop the dragons, the evil dragons, servants of Beliar and stuff like that. And you do all of that for him. He is such a good friend of you that you will aid him a lot and he will aid you a lot. At the end of Gothic 2, however, you find out why he did all of that. So by dispatching the avatars of Beliar, he actually forced the evil god to choose a new avatar, and with all the things that you collected for him and did for Xardas, he actually just claims that position by himself, becoming the avatar of Beliar, which means that he did all of that, all of the many things that he did. He always did them with one purpose in mind, and that is to become a god himself. Very, very Baali-like. Now what speaks against him being a Baali is that he is kinda too obviously not a good guy. I mean, everyone knows that Xardas is evil, or seems to know that he's evil, and he's very disliked by people. Let's keep it at that. Meanwhile, to you, the hero, it appears that everything he does is perfectly justified and is actually working for the greater good. So all the warnings that other people give you about him, you safely ignore because he is ultimately convincing you that he is doing the right thing. And a Baali should be able to do that, even though a Baali shouldn't be as hated and obviously evil as Xardas is. Phew, so I think that is actually enough for today. We've made quite a long video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something. If you want to help me out, please like the video, subscribe, share, get the notification bell going so that when the next tour through the Zangon archive starts, I actually can be there for you and guide you. And I would really appreciate it if you told your friends about this. Thank you and have a good day.